In this video, we're going to be looking at some new Fallout 76 news, some things that have popped up over the past week or so. I'm going to be talking about a variety of different topics in this video, so if you guys do want to skip around, or if you just want to skip the part where I give my opinion on some of these topics, I try and give the facts first and actually my own insights on it. But hey, maybe you don't like that. Either way, there's going to be timestamps down below in the description and hopefully in a pinned comment, as long as I remember to do that. If you guys do enjoy the content, you can leave a like or subscribe. We are getting extremely close to 400,000 subscribers, and I got some special stuff planned for that, so it'll be cool when we end up hitting it. But either way, starting things off, let's talk about the biggest story in this video, and the one that is in the title, that with a law firm doubling down against Fallout 76 and Bethesda. So if you guys aren't familiar, there have been several legal action attempts from various people against Fallout 76. We had the website Fallout with Fallout come out, which was basically aiding people in getting a refund for the game. But then even further, one of the other big stories was a certain law firm was actually investigating Bethesda for two things with Fallout 76. Firstly, the fact that some people were unable to get refunds, effectively saying that the game was unplayable on release and thus people are entitled to refunds. But then even further, when the whole Badgate situation came to light, they furthered their investigation looking into if Bethesda was deceptive with how they were selling the Power Armor edition of the game. This news got picked up by a lot of people, mainly for the fact that Fallout 76 had so much other negative press going around it at the time, and a lot of people were wondering, is this going to be real? Are people genuinely going to take action against Bethesda for how bad of a state Fallout 76 released in, and thus their refund policy? And effectively, at this time, the firm was soliciting inquiries from people that either just bought the game and were unable to refund it after trying to, or alternatively bought the Power Armor edition and felt wronged. A lot of people were speculating at the time they were going to try and go for a class action lawsuit of some kind. Well, just a couple of days ago, we actually got somewhat of an update to this story. I think it's flying somewhat under the radar because it was only posted on their Facebook page. But either way, this same law firm actually made a post talking about where they stand now with the Fallout 76 case. So for some context, it seems like this law firm in general tends to do class action based things. If you look on their website, you'll find that many of the cases they currently are undergoing are in fact class action lawsuits. But as they mention in this Facebook update, effectively ZeniMax, the parent company of Bethesda, has a term in their agreement when you sign up to play the game that makes purchasers of Fallout 76, or rather people who have played the game, ineligible for a class action. Rather, you have to go through arbitration. And what this firm says in this latest update is that they're actually prepared to go through arbitration for hundreds of different consumers that reached out to them all those months ago, and probably over the past couple of months. They posted this image saying that they basically started the process of arbitration by mailing these hundreds of letters to Bethesda on behalf of various consumers. And as it stands, Bethesda has 26 days to respond and actually resolve these claims informally. But otherwise, this law firm says they're committed to pursuing hundreds of arbitrations with Bethesda if that's not the case. So I'm actually pretty curious to see what happens here. Is Bethesda just going to fold and actually refund hundreds of people the $60 price tag, or even more depending on which edition they bought? Or will this actually go forward? Are we going to see the arbitration process take place on all of these cases? As of right now, who really knows? But time will definitely tell. It seems like the law firm is without a doubt prepared to move forward with this, having actually dubbed the whole situation Armageddon. I think the outcome of this one will be particularly curious because so often we see companies release a rather buggy game or some kind of other day one issues. With Fallout 76, there's no doubt it was on the bad side of that spectrum, but will something actually be done about this? Most of the time, the company just kind of updates the game gradually and people either abandon the game and move on, or it ends up being like a No Man's Sky where everyone's happy 2 years later. Will the fate of Fallout 76 differ from all those other games where people actually do start to take legal action as a result of this game's inaction with refunds? But either way, moving on, we also have some more news around Fallout 76 and actually some sales around it. In my last Fallout 76 news video, I talked about how GameStop Germany was actually giving away copies of Fallout 76 if you purchased a used game controller. And there have been many other stories of retailers actually shipping physical copies back because they simply have too much. Well, it seems like GameStop is actually taking an even more aggressive approach with this by taking $100 off all of its various console bundles that are Fallout 76 themed. So specifically, these are actually the Xbox One X bundles, and there's 3 different options available. And to be frank, this is actually a pretty good deal. Most of the time, when you find an Xbox One X, it'll be at $500, or if you find another bundle, it'll be at $500. So even if you just want the Xbox and you don't really care about the game, this is still a good deal on just an Xbox One X. I recently talked about all the backlash around Fallout 76, why so many people are saying they're done with the game or uninstalling the game. It seems like 2 real big points of contention with this were the series of nerfs we have seen, and even more with this latest update, that acting as one of the catalysts, but even further, the recent news that a PvP mode was coming, and it's the first DLC announcement we've actually seen for this game. Fallout 76 doesn't have a very active PvP community, so people are like, hey, why is this the first thing you announced? Well, either way, it seems like Bethesda is actually preparing a full-fledged response to this, that through a roadmap for all of the DLC. They originally touched on this just about 2 weeks ago in a post where people are asking for a roadmap, saying, "We hear you and we're laying out what's coming for Fallout 76 in our 2019 roadmap, including new PvE content." But even beyond that, just 2 days ago, we got another update saying, "Yes, we are working on a visual roadmap to show you all. We have a lot of awesome content planned for you all. I hope to have an update for you when it will be released soon." So I actually had been waiting a good chunk of the day after finishing the rest of this video, because on Thursdays, they post their Inside the Vault articles. With the way this was being referenced, I just assumed in the latest Inside the Vault, we'll hear some more details, or even maybe an ETA on its release. Well, no, not quite. They are nerfing Scorchbeast Queens, which I'll talk about in a second, but otherwise that's the entirety of the new information in that article. Either way, as far as my own take on this goes, I think a roadmap would be a huge addition to Fallout 76, and really a much needed one. I don't really see how it's such a long process. Like, if they just give rough ETAs like, hey, in this quarter, we want to release some of this stuff. Since release, Bethesda has been touting Fallout 76 as a game as a service, and one of the things that is a staple for many games as a service are roadmaps. People like to see what they're getting in the future, because that's the service part of the game as a service. As of right now for Fallout 76, we just know about the PvP mode, and even though they've mentioned certain other things like the vaults or even a PvE mode, it's kind of been in this cycle of, yeah, there's some big stuff coming for the past month and a half. But at the same time, I could see one of the reasons maybe they're putting off the roadmap or we haven't seen it just yet is it's maybe not as feature rich as some people hope. I could see the roadmap being posted and people just giving up on the game if not enough new content is included in that, or even further, if there's not enough new content in a timely fashion. Getting an insight into the future of this game doesn't mean it's going to be a good thing. But as I did just mention, yes, we got the Inside the Vault article, something I've been waiting all day for to finally post this video. In this, they start to reference patch 6 and some of the changes we will see with it. They just mentioned that it's going to be coming out at some point later this month, so not really a concise period of time. But one of the changes we will expect with that are some to Scorchbeast Queens. For those of you that have played Fallout 76, you know how annoying these things grow to be. Maybe on the first or second encounter, they're kind of cool and unique, definitely more formidable than a lot of the other foes, but after dealing with them for a month or so, you just find they're really loud, annoying, and overly difficult to take down. Fortunately, Bethesda here is addressing that somewhat. They're going to increase the time in between attacks that it can do on you, but then further actually addressing a bug with the Scorchbeast Queen loot where sometimes you'll get repeat items or just all around not that good of items. And further, in the future, they're looking to implement a system that will make her drops more legendary. And then finally, they say that they're looking to make other changes based on user feedback in general, but further actually make it so there's not as much FPS or performance issues when you're actually in some of those larger Scorchbeast Queen fights. And yeah, that's actually about it. Outside of that, they do ask for more feedback on enemies. So just how users feel about enemies in general. They actually asked for this feedback on their website, but their website's down. They address this in the article. But yeah, if you've been trying to use the Bethesda.net forums today, they are not up. They are working on a fix, but they have been down for quite a while. But then even further, they actually advertise one of the things that it says on the home screen of Fallout 76, this little bonus you can get. And if you're feeling extra fruity, you could even check out some of the new things added to the Atomic Shop. So needless to say, this was a fairly underwhelming Inside the Vault article, and I feel like it can't be like this for too much longer. With all the backlash we're seeing right now around Fallout 76, I think this article and just Bethesda in general needs to be good or be better. I think they need to get some users excited about the game again, and announcing a handful of changes to Scorchbeast Queens isn't gonna do it. Hopefully as time goes on, we'll actually see more in the way of future content or DLC. They still have mentioned that when they have their first DLC event, the time in between when they actually actually announce it and when we actually get to play it will be very short, but does short mean a month? Does that mean 2 weeks? Does it mean a couple of days? But either way, moving on, a couple of days ago, I made a video talking about how a lot of users were having issues with getting banned in Fallout 76 and then Fallout 76's support system. And I've gotten many messages since posting that video from all of you, which is almost just more feedback or proof that the system has some issues. So there are users out there that claim to be banned wrongfully and those that claim to be banned rightfully. And in my experience, it seems like more often than not, people who admit to being banned and actually just say, yep, I messed up, please unban me, get better responses or more responses. I had this email shared with me which shows somebody that was banned for duping. They actually say they weren't duping, just mass crafting, but effectively say that, hey, if your system detected that, then I'm probably doing it, right? Well, then 6 days go by and they actually get a response from Bethesda. Now that being something that a lot of these other people I've been talking to don't get at all. But either way, in that response, they say, thank you for your response. At this time, we will further investigate this appeal with the information you have provided. And then following that investigation, they'll do one of these 4 things. Issue a final warning, remove items, delete all the characters, or just permanently delete the account. This is something we've seen in the past, and it'll take 7 to 10 days for them to reach that conclusion. So on one hand, you have reports like this, and then the other hand, I have other people saying they had to create over 10 tickets, and eventually one of them just got a response. Or others who are adamant they never did anything wrong, but still have a ban and still never got a response. I think either way, there's definitely some issues with Bethesda support, even this case an example. Between the time it took for this guy to actually get a response from Bethesda support and even further how long it's going to take for them to review his account, that could be a 3-week to a month window. And based on the email, that's how long they said it actually took for them. But otherwise, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. I'm going to still talk about this banning information because I think it is a real problem. But as always, again, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.